Hey everyone, and welcome back to Throwback Terror, the series where I revisit horror classics that didn't just scare audiences, but fundamentally changed how the genre works. This series isn't about cheap jump scares or surface level shock. It's about the films that linger, the ones that crawl into your brain, mess with your emotions, and refuse to let go long after the credits roll. Today's film is one of the most emotionally devastating and psychologically disturbing horror movies ever made. It's not flashy, it's not loud, and it doesn't hold your hand. Today, I'm talking about Jacob's Ladder. One of the biggest debates around Jacob's Ladder is whether it even counts as horror, and honestly, that question alone proves how powerful this film is. The movie doesn't rely on traditional horror structure. There's no clear villain, no rules are explained, and there's no moment where the film pauses to tell you what's happening. Instead, Jacob's Ladder traps you inside a fractured mind. The horror comes from confusion, from instability, from the feeling that reality itself is slipping through your fingers. You're constantly asking yourself, what's real? What's a memory? What's a hallucination? That uncertainty is the point, and it's what makes this movie so deeply unsettling. At its core, Jacob's Ladder is a story about trauma. Jacob Singer is a Vietnam War veteran trying to live a normal life after experiencing unimaginable violence. But trauma doesn't stay neatly in the past. It leaks, it distorts memory, and it reshapes reality. The film portrays PTSD not as something loud and dramatic, but as something quiet, invasive, and relentless. The nightmares bleed into waking life. The past refuses to stay buried. This is what makes Jacob's Ladder feel so authentic. It's not just about fear. It's about grief, guilt, and unresolved pain. The horror isn't external. It's internal. Even if you've never seen Jacob's Ladder, chances are you've seen its influence. The twitching heads, the distorted faces, the hellish hospital corridors, the subway sequence. These images weren't just scary, they were wrong. They looked like nightmares pulled directly from the subconscious. This film influenced an entire generation of horror, from Silent Hill to modern psychological thrillers. It showed filmmakers that you don't need to explain the monster if the image itself feels disturbing enough. What's genius is how sparingly these moments are used. The film doesn't overwhelm you with imagery. It lets the discomfort simmer. One of the most fascinating aspects of Jacob's Ladder is its spiritual undertones. The film draws heavily from religious symbolism. Angels, demons, purgatory, but it never explicitly defines what any of it means. Instead, it presents death as a transition rather than a punishment. There's a line in the film that perfectly captures its philosophy. If you're frightened of dying and holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. But if you've made your peace, the devils are really angels freeing you. This reframes the entire story. What we're watching may not be madness. It may be resistance. Jacob isn't being tortured. He's being asked to let go. Now, the ending of Jacob's Ladder is one of the most emotional conclusions in horror history as far as I'm concerned. Without giving too much away, the film reveals that everything we've seen is part of Jacob's final moments. His mind struggling between acceptance and fear. Some viewers find the ending peaceful. Others find it devastating. And that split reaction is exactly why it works. This isn't a twist for shock value. It's a revelation that recontextualizes the entire film. Suddenly, the chaos has meaning, the terror has purpose. And once you understand that, the movie hits even harder on rewatch. Jacob's Ladder remains relevant because its themes have never faded. Trauma, war, loss, mental health, the fear of death. These are universal experiences, and the film treats them with seriousness and empathy. It doesn't exploit fear, it explores it. In an era where horror often feels louder, faster, and more extreme, Jacob's Ladder is a reminder that restraint can be far more terrifying. If you enjoy horror that challenges you emotionally and psychologically, Jacob's Ladder is essential viewing. Now, if you like this episode of Throwback Terror, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into horror classics. For writing tips, storytelling advice, and breakdowns on crafting psychological horror, you can find me on Substack. The link is in my bio. So until next time, don't trust what you see, and don't fight the climb.